And we're back to talk about the conference championship games, probably the second greatest weekend of football you have witnessed. And we were actually just talking off air real quick about Jim Harbaugh making a return and both Harbaugh brothers wearing purple because Jim apparently is going to go to the Vikings and confident he's getting that job.
Yeah, he's the front runner right now. Going for his second interview, I want to say.
I believe so, yes.
Second interview. And okay, so before I get, and let James says what he wants to say about the Jim Harbaugh thing, before I get into what I wanted to say, Jim Harbaugh actually deserves this head coaching job. I mean, he's he's a good head coach in the NFL when he was on the Niners, Super Bowl appearance, 3 10-win seasons. He was only there for 4 seasons, or 4 or 5 seasons, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he lost the Super Bowl to his brother, and then went to Michigan and switched Michigan's fucking a whole team around.
Yes and no. I mean, he did for the most part, but then he just only until like the last season, he couldn't get over that Ohio State hump. Like that was like his big bugaboo that gave him like the rumblings of hot seats just until this season. He finally gets off the hot seat and he's like, deuces,
yeah.
I'm going back to the NFL.
I mean, he wasn't as off the hot seat as you'd think. I mean, obviously he had the huge win and you got the college football berth. Like that's big enough, right? But earlier at the beginning of the season, they adjusted his contract so they wouldn't have as much dead money when they cut him, if they cut him. More of a win. He knows what he's looking at, and he's looking at a Michigan team that lost a ton of talent and is going to go back to mediocrity. So if he can get this job now, get an NFL job and get in and do what he's better at, which if you want to talk about the fucking horror stories of this guy recruiting, we can go into that. He's getting out at the right time and he's getting more money. Once again, Zach, he's chasing the bag.
Money. So this is a question I got real quick. He goes and becomes a Vikings head coach. Kirk Cousins is due for a contract, I think, after this season. Does he keep Kirk Cousins or does he boot this motherfucker for the quarterback he wants?
Sweet home Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh!
Insider Zach is just going to connect every team with a quarterback opening to Jimmy Garoppolo.
I mean, he did coach Jimmy G to the other Super Bowl. His only Super Bowl.
Just saying, he knows he can make a Super Bowl with Garoppolo.
What? He wasn't the coach of the Niners then.
Yes,
that's right. It was Colin Kaepernick, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Colin Kaepernick.
Whoops.
Yeah, it was Colin Kaepernick. It wasn't Jimmy G.
It was still Shanahan, wasn't it? With Jimmy G?
Nah, fuck, you're right.
Nah, but Jim Harbaugh he was the coach of the Niners when they went to the Super Bowl against the Ravens.
Yeah, but not with Jimmy G.
Not with Jimmy G. No, it was. Yeah, I fucked that one up. That was me. Jimmy G losing to the Chiefs was Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, that's whoopsie daisies. I know sports guys. Anywho,
but the other thing that I had real quick was, did anybody see what the fuck was going on with Brian Flores?
I was just about to bring that up. He has sued the NFL. He's suing the NFL, the Denver Broncos, the New York Giants, and is it the Miami Dolphins as well?
Yes, yeah, I think the Miami Dolphins are involved in it. Yeah, because he literally said he has messages of them bribing him $100K per game to lose in 2019 season.
And then he's also throwing Bill Belichick under the bus, saying that Belichick texted him.
It was his dyslexia.
That the Giants' job is already taken when it wasn't, alluding.
He didn't mean to send that text out. It was his dementia. He fucked up.
He's old, bro.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you. But no, I mean, and I made a brief TikTok about this earlier. I'm Team Flores in this one. You know, I mean, there's an extensive history of rumblings at the very least of NFL owners blackballing coaches, blackballing players. I mean, we just briefly brought up Colin Kaepernick. There was another minority coach, I believe, last year, an Asian American coach, if I remember correctly, who made claims of, I want to say he was like an Eagles linebacker coach or something to that effect, who was pretty much told, hey, you're not going to get a job because you're Asian.
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember that story correctly. So there's more than enough. Hey, there's this old white old boys club that they're all trying to protect.
Well,
and it wouldn't shock me if Brian Flores is outing that or trying to out that.
Let's all agree the Rooney Rule is stupid and pointless and doesn't make any effect in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And the oops that Bill Belichick just did opened a lot of worms and a lot of wormholes, because right now it just showed that the Rooney Rule doesn't do shit. Because one, he texted the wrong man congratulating him. But what's worse, he texted the wrong man congratulating him when the other man didn't even get to his interview.
Mm-hmm. And talk about picking up the conversation from where we left off with Eric Bieniemy. I mean, we have, Eric Bieniemy taking his laps around the coaching circuit last year and not able to find a job after coming off of 3 ungodly amazing years with the Chiefs and can't find a job. And then we have Brian Flores this year entering the coaching circle, the coaching carousel, I should say, unbelievably. And yet Dan Quinn gets more looks than he does. Like, Brian Flores got hired in Miami to beat Bill Belichick for one reason and one reason only. That's how you get hired in the AFC East, is to beat Bill Belichick. And that's what he did. Then gets fired and no one gives him looks, but we're going to give Dan fucking Quinn looks.
Who had a much worse tenure in Atlanta.
Right?
And, I mean, yeah, he's the DC coach of the Cowboys, but what's... You want to talk about that Cowboys defense?
Exactly. But anyway, let's move on to some football, some actual played football this last week. Like
people that are still playing.
Well, yes. Still, speaking of still playing, just want to say, James, some of us were right on this podcast. Some of us were wrong. The some of us were right are on the top of your screen. The some of us were wrong that were on the bottom of your screen.
Idiot.
Also, anyway, can we just before we really get into it, pay homage? And Zach, I fucked this up. This should have been the entrance to breaking down the tape.
Okay.
AFC East is officially, officially as of 2 years ago, but the NFL is officially Tom Brady free.
I always knew.
Free. I see the light.
I always knew this day would come. And as a Jets fan, nothing could make me happier. But as a football fan, I am left very conflicted. I don't know how to feel because Tom Brady's fucking good. And watching him do the things that he's done has been a piece of football history that I'm going to be shouting at my kids as I'm 98 years old and they're, Grandpa, no one's playing football anymore. It's virtual reality. Stop shaking your cane and yelling at kids about Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm going to be. And
Bazinga to some guys out there. Tom Brady gets an asterisk because he cheated. Bonds gets an asterisk because he cheated. Brady gets an asterisk because he cheated.
Football is not as petty and old as baseball, though. It ain't gonna happen.
I'm bringing it over, bitch. I said
Tom Brady's already in the Hall of Fame, and everybody knows it. The bust is already made. They just haven't unveiled it yet.
They gave him his jacket. He already has it in his closet.
Have you guys seen all the memes of Tom Brady handing the mic to Ben Roethlisberger at the Hall of Fame ceremony?
No.
No. Fucking gold. All of it. Every single thing.
But no, I mean, that's a conversation that we've kind of brought up. Ben is gone. Brady is gone. Breeze is gone. Mannings are gone. Phillip Rivers is gone. Aaron Rodgers is still here, but hanging on by a thread. we are in a new era of football. Like, we really are finally turning that page. And it's crazy because, I mean, Aaron Rodgers has pretty much become irrelevant, I feel like, in like the annals of history, but I don't know. It's just crazy.
Aaron
I feel
Rodgers
like
to me became like the new Peyton.
Who, Rodgers?
Yeah, like he was a great season, like a season winner, but in the playoffs he just could not get it done.
I still recall that day that argument was solved live on that episode, and it makes me still unhappy. Very unhappy. Anyway.
I had nothing to add. I thought that was good. I had no argument. Hector's right. He said what he said.
I know. It makes me uncomfortable. He was right that day. He's right every day since. It makes me uncomfortable. But let's talk about us being right and James being wrong so I can take the pressure off of me. The Bengals go into Arrowhead and win in an overtime thriller. A week after the Chiefs take it to overtime, win the coin toss, Josh Allen never gets the ball. The Bengals take it to overtime down 21-3, take this bitch to overtime at 24 apiece. The Chiefs win the coin toss, and we've all seen this movie before, but this time Joe Burrow has the pen, and he writes this shit just a little bit fucking differently because 13 seconds was all it took in the overtime for Patrick Mahomes to throw an interception, and then big balls Burrow drives him down the field just for bigger dick McPherson to drive this bitch through, remain perfect in the fucking playoffs, and win this game.
Okay, so let's just say it's big ball Burrow and big meat McPherson.
Big meat McPherson. Massive meat McPherson. I like that.
I can't wait for that to get stolen.
It's going to wind up on Glide tomorrow. Great.
Hashtag I said what I said, bitches.
You know what's fucking mental to me when you look at this? And I like, there's just a random James thought I had where I like thought the math would add up, and it does. The fucking box score split between the two games for the Bengals and Chiefs. In the first half, the Chiefs scored 49 points in both games combined. They scored 6 in both games combined in the second half.
Wow.
What a collapse.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bengals have their number. Apparently, I didn't realize that
they were up 21-3, and then you turn around and you give up 21 or 24 points, and you only put up 3.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that will forever be the storyline of this game. But I mean, the Bengals played decent football overall. Joe Burrow, 23 for 38, 250, 2 tutties, an interception. Talk about a turnaround by that offensive line. We went from 9 sacks last week to 1 sack this week.
I'm calling bluff. I get the sack number went down, but like go back and watch that game. Joe Burrow was under pressure most of that game. He was like in that like phone booth type of passing where he couldn't move.
And I also want to say, and I'm siding with James here, you're talking about a top 10 defense in the Tennessee Titans compared to the 27th ranked defense that Spagnuolo has. 27th. Difference when your team has the number 1 offensive rank and you can score 40 points, but your defense is still giving up 35.
So what you're saying is next week we're going to see plus 5 sacks.
Bounces out. All levels out. All levels out.
I'm just saying. Don't be shocked if Eric Donald alone get 5 sacks.
It was just mind-blowing to watch Joe Burrow, a young quarterback, and there's a whole other point about this after, but we'll get to that. Process. Like we talk about Mac Jones having the supercomputer brain. Joe Burrow processed his reads like that and was ready to go. He had no time in the pocket. I guarantee if you look at that, like it's time to throw, it's like 0 point fucking whatever. Dude, step back, 1 throw, fuck it. That's it.
My thing was,
did
you look into Joe Burrow's eyes walking into that stadium, and every time the camera was on him during the game, the man did not blink. He did not flinch. He did not have emotion. he was soaking in everything, and he was like, yeah, I've been here before. I ain't done.
Yeah, for such a young team, and you say that about Burrow, and you're 100% true because he is like the embodiment of just being Joe Cool. But that entire team, like, I don't know if they just don't give a shit. Like, they just don't care. And that's why it doesn't bug them. I don't know if they really are just fucking too cool. I don't know what it is, but the lights don't affect them. The crowd doesn't affect them. The world doesn't affect them. Down 21-3, winner go home, conference championship, and nothing matters. Just, it doesn't fucking matter. We're going to score on this play. We're going to score on this drive, and we're going to chip, and we're going to eat, and we're going to get back in this game. Tie ball game. Chiefs win the coin toss. Fuck, we've seen this before. Doesn't fucking matter. Nothing matters. It just, the lights are never too big. The pressure's never too much. They're for a young team, they're playing crazy right now.
I'll tell you one thing, but Mahomes only lost to two people in the playoffs, Brady and Burrow.
There you go. Still got another Brady in your division. All right, conference. Look, here's the thing that kills me to say this as a Browns fan with like a young quarterback, but there's like a Hall of Fame ability that Joe Burrow showed, and part of this, you can actually go back and look at another young quarterback. Look at what Kyler Murray did in the playoffs when they were deep down. He was on the bench. His head was down. Game was over. You could tell, like, in his eyes, he did not have that fire. There wasn't a fucking second that they were down where I didn't think Joe Burrow was going to somehow pull this out. That is a Hall of Fame ability in my eyes where you look at this player and you're like, not even worried about it. They have ice in their veins. They are playing through Joe Burrow, and it worked. And, now I'm looking at the quarterback who needs a payday, and it's probably not going to get it because in the fourth quarter, I don't have faith in Baker Mayfield. Kill me.
Yeah, when the game is on the line.
I want to know if Josh Allen's going to be the Peyton Manning that couldn't get past Mahomes, who's Brady, and then you got Burrow, who can. Like, he's the shit. Who is it? Like,
that's the scary part. If we're talking about Mahomes and Josh Allen as like Peyton and Tom, then who is Burrow? Is Burrow something we haven't seen? But I know that this is, I'm being a reactionary, but Burrow is, I just don't feel like we've seen something like Burrow before. Again, just the world doesn't fucking matter. And I just don't know if it comes from a lack of giving a flying fuck or if it comes from being better than you and he fucking knows it. I feel like we haven't seen anything like Burrow before.
I said it coming out of LSU, this man was going to ball out. I called it before. I said the Bengals, if they get an offensive line, are going to be filthy with Joe Burrow. I didn't think it was going to be this year because that line is atrocious. But there's only two guys that have done what Joe Burrow has done: won a national championship and a Super Bowl. Two guys.
Do you know one of them?
Mm-hmm. And Joe Montana.
Could be
there has been no quarterbacks to win a Heisman, Super Bowl, and national championship. Joe Burrow is about to do some crazy shit, and I don't think whether he wins or loses this game, which is like literally a 50-50 toss-up. I don't think we're nowhere near close to done what this man can do.
I think that Joe Burrow's first 3 real years, right? Like, I know this is his second year, but he didn't play most of last year because of an injury. Joe Burrow's first 3 years will have us asking what Patrick Mahomes even did with his first 3. Like, that's the kind of caliber that I feel like I see with Joe. And again, he came off of a game where he got actually put on his ass for 9 sacks, comes out and wins the game on his arm, on his leadership. Now, obviously, it's a team effort, and it really was, but he leads the way. He comes out here, 1 sack, but under fire the entire time. And like you said, James, supercomputer in his head processing these reads, moving the ball. And again, down 23 or 21-3, and just keeps chugging away and keeps doing things that just don't seem possible.
Well, like you said, Zach, people jumped on the Patty Mahomes hype train and was one, people are still trying to bash Josh Allen. I still think Josh Allen's going to be a problem to Patty Mahomes in the future. But two, we've seen not only do you have to worry about Josh Allen in the AFC to Patty Mahomes, but now you got Joe Big Ball Burrow to worry about.
It's just going to be the class
He's
of those
2-0 against him already, or 2-1.
You can expect all three of those teams to have like plus 13 win seasons for the foreseeable future.
Great.
And just be dogfighting each other for the top of the AFC every fucking year.
I feel like that's a storyline that's kind of gone under the radar, and I think we mentioned this on one episode.
You can add Zach Wilson there too.
Hopefully.
I'm speaking into existence. I said what I said.
The NFC, minus like a couple, seemed like it was like the old guard versus the new guard in the AFC. It was like, Rodgers, Brady, and fucking Stafford and all that. And look at these AFC kids. They're all rising up. They're going to – every single one of them, even fucking Justin Herbert didn't make the playoffs, is going to be stellar.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, Justin Herbert's going to be – that's another one. Justin Herbert – like, the AFC, people always, like, amped up the NFC as, like, the powerhouse of the league. But the AFC got ballers. Mm-hmm. And the NFC now is dying out. Rodgers gone. Breeze gone. Tom went over to the NFC. He's gone. What they got right now is a Trey Lance that they don't know what the fuck's gonna happen, but they got Kyler Murray, Aaron Rodgers is gonna retire soon. Russell Wilson, who's midway through his career, don't know what team he might be on next year. Could be AFC, could be NFC.
They got Danny Dimes. I mean, they got that going for him.
I mean, Kirk Cousins is on the Vikings,
but
they got Justin Fields. Yeah.
On the flip side, just to loud more like praise on the Bengals. I mean, we've been talking about the offense this entire time. Patrick Mahomes didn't exactly sit in the pocket and do whatever he wanted all game either. Patrick Mahomes got sacked 4 times, lost the 39 yards, and there was a couple of times where he should have been sacked, but he does Patrick Mahomes like superhuman athletic things, and one of them was to Travis Kelce for a touchdown. But Bengals defense didn't fuck around here either. You know what I mean? Like, they kept it together for the most part on the ground.
They kept 55 yards in the second half.
Well, exactly. At first, they were kind of, making me sweat a little bit, but then they came back and showed out. I mean, that interception in key moments in overtime, that's the game winner right there. You know what I mean? When teams have a 10-1 record in the postseason, winning the coin flip in overtime, and you come out and 13 seconds later get the interception, like that's huge. Obviously, game changing. It ended the game. And not to be like Joe Buck here and like point out the obvious, but I think that's one of the biggest swings that we can point at is those 2 interceptions of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, as much as you don't want to like Eli Apple, they've done a good job building a defense. Trey Hendrickson's been a monster. That was a super questionable move. Von Bell has always been huge. I love Von Bell. I think he's slept on his hell. Same thing with Jesse Bates. He doesn't get the love he deserves either. Look what happened. Von Bell got the closing interception.
I do say a classless move from Apple to Cheetah.
Yeah. No, Eli Apple talks too much.
Classless move. Because you wouldn't be talking that shit if he would have fucking caught you with that juke and broke your ankles and gave you a peace sign.
Yeah, he would have been salty as fuck on Twitter and said, "Come to my where I live." He would have run his mouth like an asshole. And I agree with you. And I, you know what, though? And I love Tyreek Hill even more. He's like, "No Twitter beat for dog. You got my personal line. Like, don't be out here big for the world to see. Come be big in my inbox, dog. You know where to find me."
So Eli Apple was all over Twitter. He was like trashing the Giants, trashing New Orleans as a whole. And then Twitter snapped back. I'm not going to say any of the listeners should do this, but if you go on Twitter and you search for Eli Apple's mom, you'll see.
I don't know. I have no idea. What is with you and your moms, James?
No, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not gonna say anything. We'll talk off camera, but
I'll have to check it out. I've got a narrative that was kind of brought up as a joke in a meme, but it kind of makes me really question things. Do we overhype Andy Reid? Is Andy Reid maybe just not that guy?
No. Andy Reid is everything that he is. No, he is Andy Reid. No, don't you put some respect on that name.
He only has one Super Bowl after all of, with Donovan. He doesn't have anything with the Eagles when he had Donovan McNabb, Michael Vick.
He's 1-3 in the Super Bowl. He's 1-3 in the Super Bowl. We get it. He's 1-3, but like he's an all-time great coach. That man knows how to win.
Yes, but when
you got to understand that most of his losses, he's 1-3 in the Super Bowl, and I think all 3 losses are to Tom fucking Brady.
So are we willing to wipe away negative statistics or negative numbers because of who they're against? I haven't honestly, hand to God, haven't formed a decision. It has me thinking a little bit, but I haven't formed a decision. Genuine question. Do we look at certain statistics that we probably don't like because they were against Tom Brady, because they were against Bill Belichick, because they, what I mean?
Because it depends on the argument, because right now you're like, he's only one, but if it was the flip side of it, it's like Tom Brady won that. Like Tom Brady's the fucking GOAT. Like, you lost to the GOAT. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to lose to the GOAT.
Fair. James, where do you stand with this? Do you feel like we're living a little too high on Andy Reid, or is he still just fine because of all the conference championships he's made? He's 1-3 in the Super Bowl, but he's lost to Tom Brady 3 times. Like, where?
Sorry, I had to flip my phone over. I have Eli's mom on Twitter right now. I think we do give him a lot of credit. I think a lot of it's deserved, though. I mean, obviously he has his downfalls. He's not going to be known as, like, if you're ranking him in coaches, I'm not going to pretend like I can name more off the top of my head that would be like up there, but he's low end top 10, which is great. That's legendary. But like, when you look at his legacy, like, what has he really done for the game? He has like a bowl, and that's it, and some bad clock management. Well, I think he's slightly overrated.
Okay.
Ooh,
I haven't made my decision. The farthest I would go is slightly overrated. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, he's terrible, but a lot of questions.
He's been to 4 NFC straight championship games and 4 straight AFC championship games.
And with 1 Super Bowl to show for it.
So with 4 Super Bowl appearances.
Yeah.
And remember who you're losing to.
Also fair. Again, I go back and forth. I see both sides of the argument, and I need to perseverate on it a little bit more. I was just wondering with you guys. So now we've got the Bengals in the Super Bowl. And as we alluded to before, they will be meeting Aaron Donald and the Los Angeles Rams because Matty fucking Stafford, baby. What'd you call him, Hector?
Ice cold Matty Natty.
Beat the San Francisco 49ers. Jimmy G, who was previously undefeated against the Rams as a starter, loses in a fucking thriller, a 3-point thriller, as James texts the group something about, I'm sure, Eli Apple's mom on Twitter. Rams 20-17 over the Niners. Love to see it. And today it breaks that Jimmy's team and the Niners are already looking for trade destinations for him. So it's already in the books. Jimmy's out of San Fran. It's pretty much set in stone at this point.
Did you see him out of his interview?
No, I didn't.
He pretty much said, I know I'm getting traded. I want to go to a winner. Thanks for everything. See ya.
Whoever gets Jimmy Garoppolo, even if they give up $1, if they trade a singular dollar for Jimmy Garoppolo, got hornswoggled. Just purely bamboozled and taken advantage of. Jimmy G has played out his worthfulness in the NFL. Period. End of story. I said what I said.
I had this whole fucking hot take come out, and we kind of alluded to this a little bit last week too. But I said that I thought Trey Lance with a full year would have done better and got them into the Super Bowl, which is a whole nother debate. Obviously, Zach, you're anti start your quarterback like off the gun, but I think Trey Lance next year. Don't even get me started. But I think Trey Lance next year actually makes some big waves. No one, even Jimmy included, thought that he was going to be the starter next year, right? Like you draft a dude, you trade up to draft a dude top 5. You're not going to be sitting around as the dude in front of him. You're going to be either benched or you're going to be traded. And he's in the best case scenario where he made it to the NFC final and got traded. Is getting traded.
Yeah. Yeah, and my thing for San Fran is, Jimmy Garoppolo isn't the guy as we saw from that final what are you doing fucking interception that he threw. But Deebo Samuel led the way pretty much the entire season. But in this game, Deebo Samuel led the way on the ground, first of all, on all-purpose yards, but on the ground with 26 yards.
He single-handedly held that team down. The thing is that this 49ers defense came out, did what they were supposed the offense actually came out and did what they were supposed to do. The defense, for once, didn't. You're up 17-3. You should not let up 17 straight points and then at the same time, you got to look at Jimmy G and be like, you're up 17-3. If the defense is not doing it, you still got to put up fucking points.
Mm-hmm.
You choked it. Matty Stafford had some of that fucking ice cold fucking veins, and he led a comeback. And as much as people want to shit on Jimmy G for doing his letdown, you got to give credit to Matty Stafford for proving motherfuckers wrong when they said he couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And he did. He led one of the greatest comebacks right now.
Mm-hmm. In his 13th year in the NFL, and he's finally proving what should have been.
He's 0-3 in the playoffs, comes to the Rams for the first season like Tom Brady did to the Bucs and goes to the Super Bowl. 0-3 in the playoffs with Detroit and then comes and wins fucking, 3 games?
Should we start calling the Rams the Redemption Rams? Because Matt Stafford's story isn't the only story of redemption, looking at Von Miller and Odell Beckham Jr.
Kurt Warner. Is it the Rams where you go to redeem your career?
Right? Like the Redemption Rams, man. I mean, Cooper Kupp does Cooper Kupp things, 11 reception, 142 yards, 2 tutties. Odell Beckham, man, 9 receptions, 113 yards. I mean, they had 2 players that topped 100 yards in this game in receiving yards. Like the Rams are getting done on offense.
Odell finally knows that he's not supposed to be a number 1.
Mm-hmm.
You let someone else be the number 1 and Odell will thrive.
And also Redemption Rams, let's not forget about Eric Weddle coming off the couch, off of beer leagues, into the NFL and leading in total tackles. Having the 3rd highest solo tackle, having a tackle for a loss. Like, they're the Redemption Rams as far as I'm concerned. They're redeeming themselves back in LA from whence they came after their stint in St. Louis. Everybody on their team was traded for. They have no fucking future as far as draft capital goes. And everybody on that team is like the land of misfit toys that were supposed to be fucking amazing in their original spots and just could never figure it out. And now they all band together as like superstar misfits. And here we are.
Hey, McVay's going to go down as a great coach. 5 years, 2 Super Bowl appearances. Let's see if he can win
sure about all of this.
I had a few points through the whole thing. One, as an NFL community, can we just stop pretending like Cooper Kupp? I mean, granted, this is exponentially better Cooper Kupp, but can we stop pretending like he wasn't good before? Like Cooper Kupp has been great this season.
Sterling Shepard's better.
According to the guy who loves to steal my content, what is Sterling Shepard and Kenny Galladay are better.
No, Sterling Shepard and Adam Thielen.
Adam Thielen. My apologies. Adam Thielen. I didn't mean to speak out of turn.
Those are fucking awful takes. Point 2, all the jokes we made about like the Rams selling out and whatever, sure. But guess what? It translated. You made the Super Bowl. At the minimum, you got your return on investment. You broke even. If they win, guess what? You fucking hit positive. You hit green.
Yeah.
I don't remember my last point. Oh, I think Sean McVay And if he wins here, I think we start getting into a different discussion. But I think we could be talking about him in the same air as Andy Reid. I know Andy Reid wasn't as accomplished younger in his career. We're gonna have to see a lot from Sean McVay because I mean, Bill Belichick did something like out coaching him, which doesn't not like that's like a fucking rare thing. He's a genius, but Sean McVay also refused to change his game plan that entire Super Bowl against the Patriots. He just kept fucking trying to stretch the field, and it didn't work. It almost worked, but it didn't work. So if he does the same shit, he's going to get bit again by the Bengals. And then we start talking about...
Yeah, but you're not going against Bill Belichick.
He's really good.
Bill Belichick's defense will not break.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you're right. But you have to make some adjustments to that. And if you watch that Super Bowl again, there are no adjustments made.
Yeah, but I don't think they're trying to stretch the field anymore. I mean, Cooper Kupp's emergence, right? So he was always good. I agree, obviously. But his emergence this year as the Triple Crown winner and just being an overall, like, top 3 receiver this year shows that they're not trying to stretch the field. Because Cooper Kupp doesn't stretch your field. In fact, Cooper Kupp, to Hector's point, allows OBJ to stretch the field, allows Van Jefferson to stretch the field. Cooper Kupp is the guy that allows those things to happen, because they're not, because he's going to run his little fucking
He's an amazing route runner. Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams are in the realm of their own when it comes to route running.
Mm-hmm. I would put Keenan out.
OBJ has great route running, but he's more known for his hands. That motherfucker could catch anything.
Mm-hmm.
Except passes for Baker Mayfield.
Well, it's because Baker Mayfield can't get the passes there.
I know!
But I do want to run on this point that this has been a ground that I have stood on since this trade. It is Matthew fucking Stafford's season.
I said Rams in the Super Bowl.
Yep. I think he's already proved the haters wrong. Like, to Hector's point, to James's point, I think the Rams have already proved haters wrong, and they've at minimum broken even. And I don't know, kind of leading into a Super Bowl matchup prediction here, both of these guys winning makes me happy because I am totally on the Joe Burrow bandwagon here, right? Like, clearly, I've been saying Joe Burrow reminds me of Joe Namath, the only quarterback to win the Super Bowl for the Jets. I just said today that I don't think I've ever seen anything like what we see in Joe Burrow. So obviously I'd be happy if he wins because I'd be like, haha, fucking told you so. And obviously I'd be happy if the Rams won, so I can be like, haha, fucking told you so. Let's get into a Super Bowl matchup here. What are we thinking? Obviously we've got the Rams at home in SoFi taking on the Cincinnati Bengals, the just 2 cool new kids on the block. What are we looking at here?
You're looking at 2 high-powered offenses and an underrated defense and a stellar defense with top-tier talent. It's going to be a fucking slobber knocker. I've always wanted to use that. I've never actually used that term. I'm excited. I think it's going to be electric. I think it's going to be a fun Super Bowl. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring Super Bowl. It could, but I doubt it.
I think the pressure. So what this really comes down to is I think both offenses break even with maybe a lean towards the Bengals. I think the Rams defense is better, but the gap isn't as big as you think it is, as most people think it is. But I really think what it comes down to is coaching. I think Zach Taylor is woefully underqualified to even be in the same stadium as Sean McVay. And the only reason that he is because his team is just too fucking good to be held back by him. But, I mean, we're going to see a game where, much like the last game, Joe Burrow is going to be fucking running for his life. You're going to have Aaron Donald fucking trying to butt fuck him every goddamn play. And if he doesn't get to him, Von Miller is going to be breathing down his throat. And then you have Jalen Ramsey out there making sure that Jamar Chase is under lock. Now, there's other weapons that the Bengals have here, but I honestly think this game is being won or lost right now. As we speak, this game is being decided. And the outcome will have already been made before the players ever take the field. In my opinion, like what's that old famous quote when you talk about Napoleon losing, right? He lost in the Fields of Eden or whatever it was because it was, or Edinburgh, whatever the fucking quote is. He lost because he was out fought before the battle ever began. That's this. That's what we're talking about here. Is this game is won or lost right now?
I can agree with that. I'm saying 27-21 Rams. 27-21 Rams. The Bengals have proven to throw up points and come back from deficits. The Rams have proven to give up big leads and squeak out wins. And like Zach said, I do believe it comes down to the coaching. And McVay's been there. Zach Taylor hasn't.
I did think that was going to be the Bengals' downfall last week. Was going to be their coaching. I think it falls back on it. I mean, one of their most effective weapons is Joe Mixon, and fine, use him. But I mean, just on a pure average, you're going to get more yards passing, especially when you have a guy like Joe Burrow under center. And on a real life statistics, I don't have the numbers because that's hard and I don't feel like it. But yes, let's go Lightning. Joe Mixon's been one of the least effective runners this entire playoff stretch, and they keep going to him on first down, and it makes no sense, but it's working.
Well, because you still got to defend for him. You still need to defend for him. He still is the third leading rusher in the league at over 1,200 yards on a shitty offensive line, and he's a great pass catcher out the backfield. Like, you still have to defend for him.
But that's what I'm saying is, and that kind of goes back to my point, is this team is succeeding in spite of Zach Taylor. Like, you don't even have to put DBs out on the field on first down against the Bengals because there is no realm in which they pass. They only run on first down, and it's the most predictable thing, much like the sun rising in the east. You know what I mean? But Joe Mixon still runs pretty decently because he's fucking Joe Mixon, so he still might get you 3 fucking yards, but there's no creativity on that offense. Zach Taylor has no idea what to do. He's like a child with the keys to a smart Ferrari that can drive itself. And he's gotten to where he is because it's done all the work for him. But now he's going to need to drive, and that's going to be scary.
And he don't got his license.
And he don't got his license. I agree with you for the most part that it's going to be low scoring, but I think we're going to see like another 2 minutes where 25 combined points are scored. I think it's going to be relatively, very chess matchy, very, a couple big plays here, a couple big plays there, tit for tat kind of situation. And then the last 2 minutes, we're going to see the safeties flip off and we're just going to go full auto and it's just going to be fucking ridiculous. So I'm think because it gets out of hand in the last 2 to 4 minutes, I think 35-32, I'm calling overtime. And I've got Matt Stafford. I've got the Rams.
You know what's crazy, Zach? My original guess in my head was 35-32, and I was like, nah, 27-21.
It's not bad. And I actually have money for the Bengals to win. I've got $5 that'll win me, I don't know, like fucking 100 and something on MGM that says the Bengals will win. But I think for bragging purposes, I've been on the Matt Stafford train. I'm not going to hop off it now. Joe Burrow is very tempting, and I can be on that next year. But Matty Stafford in overtime, 35-32.
I see it being like a game where the Rams kind of like blow it open in the first half, kind of like the Chiefs game. They blow it open in the first half. They let Burrow come back. But Burrow this time just doesn't finish it.
Fair enough. Leaves us all wanting more.
Because the Rams defense can make stops.
True.
Like on some shit where Aaron Donald gets the fucking sack and he gets fucking Super Bowl MVP.
Oh, we'll get into awards in a minute.
My body hates that this is happening.
Oh, no.
Like my gut is yelling at me.
My mind is telling me no, but
my body is telling me that there's going to be a big injury in this game. And I think it goes the way of the old man. Like, for some reason, Matt Stafford, to me, when I hear it, I'm thinking like for some reason my body's telling me, because he played injured last week towards the end of the game. He was hobbling. I think that comes back. I think we end up seeing a hurt Matt Stafford. I think the Bengals take advantage and the Bengals win this. Give me 21-15.
Ooh, on a hurt Matt Stafford.
I don't like it. Like, you know when you get that like weird feeling about a game where like someone big is going to get injured, and I think it's Matt Stafford.
I put a lot of what ifs up there too. Like, if Matt Stafford was healthy, would have Joe Burrow won?
Yeah, that's gonna be a hell of a narrative. All right, who do we think takes home Super Bowl MVP? I'm going Matty Staffs. I'm in my scenario. The Rams win.
It's Matty Stafford. Like it's but my heart says Aaron Donald.
It should always be Aaron Donald, but yeah, no, I'm taking Matt Stafford.
Give me Jesse Bates.
What?
Mm-hmm. Defensive MVP.
Like I said, Matty Stafford is going to win it. It's either going to be Matt Stafford or Joe Burrow, but my heart says Aaron Donald.
I'm so confused that James lives in a world.
Give me the Water Boys backup smother.
Jesse Bates is their captain.
James lives in a world that the Bengals win the Super Bowl with Joe Burrow at the helm and Jamar Chase on the outside, and neither of those two win Super Bowl MVP.
You're gonna feel like an idiot when he gets a cool interception. Fucking tool.
A game-winning interception.
Yeah, Malcolm Butler, that bitch. Let's go, Jesse Bates.
What a pick. What a pick for the Super Bowl MVP.
Slam.
Is that you throwing your proverbial meat on the table?
Yeah, except it would sound more like.
Anyway,
that pin? It's like now.
So we've got Hector and I going for the Rams. We've got James going for the Bengals.
If it goes like James' usual predictions, then me and Zach will be right.
Congratulations on the Rams.
Put it in the bank.
Jesse Bates' knee exploded. The Rams win the Super Bowl.
James is like
in a safe way
into a fucking mountain right now.
5 to 10 weeks.
Oh my god. Anyway, that's all I've got, unless you gentlemen have anything for me before James starts predicting more like career-ending injuries here. Guys, follow us on everything: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the bullshits. It's Breaking Down the Tape. You can send us tips on Venmo. And speaking of Venmo, Super Bowl boxes are out, $25 a piece, max 5 boxes per person. Can win you, like, if you win them all, which is unlikely, but hey, fuck, maybe it happens. You could win like fucking $2,000 or some shit like that. There's like a max, like the final quarter or the final is like $900. The half is like $450. First and third quarters are like $225, something to that fact. I feel like the math play is pretty right for that. Yeah. But anyway, you can like triple your investment or 10 times your investment pretty easy.
If you don't like to play, tell your friends. Super Bowl boxes. We got Bengals and the Rams. We got about 50 boxes left, give or take.
Just about.
Come get them while you can now. Super Bowl is coming up in about a week and a half, 2 weeks.
If you know us personally, hit us up. Each one of us, you can hit us up on our personal messages. If you don't know us personally, Breaking Down the Tape messages on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
And if you don't want to talk to us, just Venmo at Breaking Down the Tape with the number boxes you want, and you're good to go.
Exactly. If your box is taken, I'll let you know. That's all I got. Hector, let them know.
It's Big Ball Burrow and Ice Cold Matty Natty season. We will see you guys for the Super Bowl. I said what I said.